Hello everybody, my name is Dean Takahashi. We're live from the show floor of GDC 2024. I'm the lead writer for GamesBeat at VentureBeat. I've been covering the game industry for 27 years, and I also help with the GamesBeat Summit events. The next one is May 20th and 21st in Los Angeles. Very happy to be talking about shaping the future together, insights and strategies for the gaming industry's growth and diversity. Here with me is Chris Hewish, Chief Strategy Officer at Xsolla, and David Stelzer, President of Xsolla. So welcome.
Great to be here. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dean.
Appreciate it. And you've got another quarterly report out about the state of the game industry here. And David, do you want to start with
Sure.
some impressions?
So first, we put out the State of Play report every quarter. Anybody who's interested in taking a look at it, you can sign up at Xsolla.com. The report covers all parts of the industry. This latest one is a really good recap of the last 5 years within the games industry. It's going to cover where the revenue has gone. It's going to cover where the player counts are, what e-commerce looks like against m-commerce. It's going to cover how the games industry is looking against the overall entertainment industry. And then trending things like cloud gaming, web stores, alternative payment methods in general, and then social issues like women in gaming, diversity, as well as the state of the investments in the game industry. So it's very all-encompassing. It's 100 and some odd pages, and it's a great place if you want to go every quarter to just kind of check out and get a recap of where the industry is at.
Chris, you want to build on that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think David did a great job covering the majority of what's going on there. We also share some trends that we're seeing in the report every quarter. We go a little bit deeper into some of the topics that are really important to developers that we're really hearing about, and it really kind of explains just what some of the opportunities are for people to help grow their business. So.
And what are some of the, say, maybe striking details that are coming out in the report? I know live services is something that everybody's excited about. Are there particular, say, results in this that are interesting to you?
Yeah, I mean, aside from live services, I mean, things that are interesting in the report. So post-COVID hangover, we're starting to see revenues stabilizing again. They're still down from 2021, but over 22, 23, and predicted in 24, they're all kind of within a stabilization, which is great. We're still seeing an increase in mobile gaming. Mobile game revenues are looking to go up by almost 50% year over year, players nearly doubling. The dominating form of what's being spent is still in-app purchases versus calls to action through advertising. That's an interesting trend. And then what we're seeing as kind of the fallout and the competition that's coming forth as the DMA went into action at the beginning of March.
Digital Markets Act in Europe.
Yeah, you have Apple and Google's lawsuits with Epic. And what's happening there.
And
this
a
morning,
new lawsuit today.
New lawsuit this morning. The Department of Justice made an antitrust case against Apple for monopolistic business practices, specifically calling out things like payments and wallets. So all of these things come back to, what are the game makers going to be able to do as seeing this as an opportunity to basically retain more of the money for themselves that they're paying in these large fees to these platforms, right? And we were talking about things before we got into this about some of the things fueling the layoffs and how it's been kind of this weird dichotomy. And Chris, you were saying things about the margin.
Yeah, I think one of the things that really hasn't been talked about a lot when it comes to trends that impact the industry and lead to people getting laid off is just some of these fees that we continue to see coming from the platforms. We talk about how that impacts business, but it really impacts the ability to hire and retain people as well, where if you have developers out there and they're continuing to pay these fees even when regulations are really, the spirit of them are to try to open things up, that impacts just some of the job opportunities out there. And I think we see that around the show this year where there's a lot of people that have been impacted by layoffs, and it's unfortunate. And for us, we feel like, look, this direct-to-consumer idea and the ability to connect directly with your players generate higher margins. That has an impact that could have maybe avoided some of these layoffs.
I think maybe it's helpful for people to understand that it's not the end of the world, that this does seem to be some kind of cycle, and that there will be opportunities, and that fundamentally the game industry is still in a healthy state.
Yeah, these things, the games industry is very cyclical. It's a good point to bring up. And so we see these cycles of expansion and contraction. Over the last 10 years, we saw this a lot. Usually we've seen them as new consoles come out, so from like PS4 to the PS5, you have games that kind of get crunched out from the middle, and we get the big AAA, higher resolution games coming. Here you kind of had that fueled by a massive event through COVID. Everybody hired a lot. We thought that there was going to be a slew of new games coming. Now they're trying to figure out, as the revenues go down, how they're going to compensate for that. So you're going to see that you're going to have basically fewer games that are made at this point in time, but as the deal making goes forward, which we're starting to see a lot of right now, that will output more games in the future, which will cause more jobs to need to be created. And we've been hearing from companies around the show that they're already starting to increase hiring, that they're starting to increase their portfolios, retargeting what those portfolios need to look like based on what the future of games is starting to look like.
Yeah, that was one of my questions, is like, what do you feel is sort of the mood of the show? I don't know, Chris, if you had something to add.
Yeah,
to that.
it's, I think the mood of the show is really could be summed up as two different moods. You have, unfortunately, the developer community, which has had a really tough run of it. A lot of people have either lost their jobs or know friends that have lost their jobs. So a lot of people looking for opportunities. But on the other side of it, this goes a little to David's point of, kind of the light at the end of the tunnel, as it were, is from a deal perspective and from an investor and banking perspective, we're seeing a lot of strong interest in doing deals. And that's sort of really changed from where it was the past few years, where the deal side of it was down as well. So on the one hand, you have a lot of people that are in a tough spot, but then on the other hand, you have a lot of people that are pretty excited about sort of the return growth of the industry and where that can go. And
yeah, I do think of deals also not simply as making some particular people rich, while everybody else suffers. I feel like it's the foundation for growth, right? That there's structural things that are different. There are many more game venture capitalists now. They're putting money into a lot of the game startups and the indies, and those folks are still the source of the creativity of the industry, right?
You'll see a piece at the end of the State of Play report on investment, and it talks a little bit about just that, right? The opportunity that gets created here is that the way deals get done gets reset. The size of the deals kind of moves around, so if the mega deals don't look right, and where can we put money and get reasonable returns on that investment? And then the other opportunity that gets set is prices start to come down, and deals get repriced in ways that are more reasonable for what IP is worth. That causes the ability for more IPs to get bought and sold, and therefore new games go into production.
And it does feel like there are things out there that help the developers get their work done. The co-development industry is much bigger than it was. Companies like Keywords or Virtuous are out there, and they're helping people finish games and maybe smooth out that sort of hire and fire cycle.
I mean, the co-dev industry, which was also pretty well hit through this, should start to pick up as production picks up again. And then all the services that you'll start to see pop up around how to do things at scale for smaller companies. So Unreal Engine and Unity are really good examples of that on the production side. And then products that we have for the post-production side, things that help you monetize, things that help you do things that would require more people, more money, that allow you to look and feel like a big AAA dev, even if you're smaller. Those types of services are going to help people really grow their businesses, we think, in hard times.
Yeah, and we're seeing that, like a couple of examples with our web shop business that we've been doing, which has been doing fantastic. We just announced that we're doing some additional features for that focus around live ops, being able to really manage your web shop community a lot better. so that's kind of, to David's point, the tools that can help you grow your business, but then also cross-play, cross-platform. That's a big direction and trend that we're seeing, and that helps games of all sizes reach larger markets, right? Just by being able to get on different platforms, all of that. So a lot of good tech coming, not just from us, but from other people to expand the reach of your games.
And I guess we still see that environment of winners and losers. I mean, Monopoly Go has been a spectacular game that's hit $2 billion worth of revenue in 11 months, or 10 months. And I think that they hit their first $1 billion in 7 months, and the second billion came in 3 months, and so that's pretty amazing result. Very interesting that the game industry can still hit these really high points that are just higher than ever. I mean, that's more money than the Barbie movie. It's more money than the Super Mario.
Well, and I think it's a good counter argument to one of the points out there, which is it's only old games that are successful, right? And while, yes, I had heard a stat that approximately 70% of the top performing games are 7 years old or older, right? But it's great to see something like Monopoly Go come in, and that's technically a new game, even though it had been in development for quite a while, and it has some sort of successors to or precursors to it. But to see something new IP come in and have such great success.
And it's a good point too, because you can have new IP in ways that you do things to fuel success. So like with IDFA and the struggles that people are having to acquire new users because it's expensive or it's hard to do things the way that we used to, a licensed IP seems to be a way to go. I've been hearing a lot about folks talking about the benefits of licensed IP for your market strategy, the identification that people have with it. And Monopoly Go is a great example of that. I mean, the game, it's probably over 50 years old at this point as a board game, has recognition through multiple generations of people that love playing it at some point in their life, and now you don't have to put the board out, hand money out to everybody. It's like all there for you with mechanics that make it fun and easy to play. And that recognition, I think, is going to be what fuels some of the bigger games right now that are going to try to break into the charts and dethrone some of those 7, 10-year-old games that have been there for a long time.
And I believe it also just highlights or underscores the opportunity when it comes to women players and more diverse audiences, wider reach into all the regions of the world as well.
We do have in the report as well, it talks about right now the reach of women gamers. 48% of the gaming audience right now is female-based.
And it feels like this is still a issue for the game industry to fully embrace, I guess, or to work through.
It's starting to grow. So aside from that 48%, we're seeing that the industry has about 30% of employees being women, but only about 16% of them are in leadership roles. And then how do you bring those people into the industry? You and I were talking just before this about toxicity that exists in games, and many women are afraid to play multiplayer games because of what happens in the chats and that toxicity. And so how do we make a more welcoming environment? How do we get better moderation in these multiplayer games? You know, that feeling of equality and safe space. If you're not getting it in your gameplay, how do you feel that you're going to get it in your working environment? I think that's a challenge.
And you need also the women in the workforce to create the games that are of wider appeal across a broader set of people.
Women spend a lot of money just like men do. There's just different play patterns a lot of the time.
And I think there's plenty of studies out there that show that the more diverse your workforce, the better results that you get from the business at the end of the day. So very, very happy to see that going in the right direction, with a lot more obviously to do. And I love your point about thinking of diversity, obviously about players and people in the workforce, but also thinking about it from regional expansion, right? Being able to connect with other cultures and really expand that way. So, which has been a great thing to see in games.
There's a very vocal minority out there, though, that think that this is going to take away from the kind of games that they love, like the hardest core games, I guess. And I don't see that as being a reasonable reaction. I think the wider of the games, the greater the appeal, the more diverse the audience is, the more diverse the characters game. It means that the games can be more successful and more, generate more returns that can be reinvested into bigger and better games for everybody. So we don't get a diluted game industry out of this. We get a stronger game industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think too often people think of things in a zero-sum way, right? To your point, like I'm not going to get what I love. And the reality is it's just going to expand. They're still going to, for that audience, there's still going to be the games that they have affinity to for this product. That audience, like you said.
And then maybe we should drill down too on the Digital Markets Act a bit more, and just how big an opportunity this is. It's happening right now. It's this month, this year. It's being enforced, and what are some things that will come from this? Go on that.
Yeah, I mean, the DMA, Digital Markets Act, is something I've been talking about for over a year now, so it's great. The intention there is to really open up the platforms, and for people that don't know, the Digital Markets Act looks at big platforms, and the intention is for them to open up and create kind of a fairer market for businesses to operate in. From our perspective, a big part of that is around payments, being able to connect directly with their players, and that right now, there's quite a dance going back and forth between the platforms, so the European regulators on how does that get implemented, what are the fees, things like that. But it's been really encouraging to see the regulators respond quickly to things that they feel are unfair in the spirit of the DMA.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen what Apple or Google have tried to do. If you want to bring your own payments, which the DMA is encouraging, there's these very scary screens that come up if you want to do that, which is, hey, you're going to leave and go someplace that we can't guarantee your safety, basically. That's what it's like. And the regulators are coming in and saying, hey, this is not the spirit of what we were doing. And if you
imagine if you saw that sign too, if you walked out of your house every day, hey, be careful, it's a crazy world out there. Are you sure you want to go outside?
Right.
So, I don't know. It's I guess everybody has their agenda that they're pushing, and I think the one that's going to work for developers is just the more opportunity, the more open the platforms are, the more open the markets are. It's going to be a good thing.
You have to remember too that the way things operate under the walled garden system, and what we're trying to do with that direct to consumer piece is allow the developers to know who's playing their games. Allow the developers to be able to talk to those people. It's their audience that they've been creating, right? And so rather than having to do things solely through their community efforts, see what's happening from the efforts of playing the game, be able to tweak the games in a way that their players want or will like from that data that they don't get from Apple, they don't get from Google. Privacy restrictions that have been causing both of those platforms to pull back. If you have a relationship with your own consumer where they would like to be talked to in that way and they tell you, you should have the ability to do so. And being direct to consumer allows for those opportunities.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. A lot of people may just think when they hear direct to consumer that it's all about a financial or commerce play, which is certainly part of it. But the real benefit, to David's point, is you get to connect directly with your player, directly with that consumer. And think of some of the sort of the best restaurants that are out there in the world. The chef is coming out from behind the kitchen to talk with the customers to understand them. And that's a similar thing here, right? You want to be able to connect with your players, get their email addresses, get a full, complete picture of their data, not just what's happening in game, but what's happening on the payment side of it, the commerce side of it, just all of that. And that just allows developers to make better end products or end games for the players.
Yeah, and then it just opens those developers to being able to keep more of the profits and reinvest in whatever they need to reinvest in for the future. And that brings us to some of these topics that are maybe more on the edge of gaming, like say, I don't know, cloud gaming, the metaverse, AI. These are all frontiers that need investment.
Yeah, and they all have different places in things. So where will AI place properly, right? So we all hear about generative AI is the big topic, but looking at where that's at in the current state, it's still probably many years away from being an active piece of game development. You have other things that I think are a little bit closer and really useful utilities for the industry, translations, localization, testing, things like that, that are going to speed up processes and get a little bit more accuracy in mundane tasks. It's one of those things that AI, I think, is primed for in the near term. Cloud gaming, you've got xCloud with the Game Pass product that's been doing very well, but not every game is really made for that experience. And I think for mobile casual gaming, cloud represents a really good opportunity. Going back to a direct-to-consumer strategy, to be able to have an instant version of your game that could spin up without having to download the client or go onto a web page, even if it's just to try out the game. Having that on your web store is a great place to be able to do that. That will get better over time, but starting to train people that cloud is an opportunity, and that's more training on both sides. So you're training the developer that they can have these opportunities as low cost to expose people to their game and get them playing right away rather than just advertising to them, and getting players to understand a different type of environment where they can just go somewhere and pick between a few things and it's instant play, right? The speed of that, I think, will retrain people over time. That's what's interesting to me as cloud progresses.
Yeah, taking all the friction out of the whole sort of process.
Yeah, but I think
trying to get into a game.
Definitely, but you train them on things that are quick play, easy to play, fun little experiences that don't rely on multiplayer syncing and stuff like that, which will get better over time, but it's just not there yet. And you don't want to spoil the experience.
Right. Yeah. And I think, you talked about AI. I think another area that AI can play a really important role in, and we're starting to see some companies doing this, which we talked about earlier, is content moderation, right? Being able to help create safer environments, do real-time moderation, and get very fast responses to be able to keep that environment safe for players. I think is a great opportunity and an application of it. I know a lot of people talk about, AI is taking jobs away and things like that, but obviously that is a risk. But I think what we've seen with most productivity tools over time is they just lead to bigger amounts of content versus a shrinking workforce and everything. So there's some interesting things there. Clouds, I think one of the things that people have struggled with on that is just the business model, as well. The accessibility is a fantastic use case for it, but it's also being able to solve the business model with some of the costs that come with that are maybe a little bit more than what you're traditionally seeing. But the good news is we're seeing that that's being addressed now as well. So that, I think, just why we're bullish about cloud is we see things moving in the right direction, right, to really address some of the issues that have held it back for now. And then just thinking about that is another part of an extended metaverse where, the metaverse, and I think, we all believe, and I know our founder just released a book about this, that the metaverse is really this series of interconnected, places and spaces. It's not just one big sort of, you're in, Ready Player One, right?
Yeah.
It's really how do you connect all the experiences and touch points that players are engaging with behind the scenes into one connected metaverse. And in that sense, we see cloud as kind of just another touch point, right? It's not a replacer for the way people are engaging, but it's just another area that they can.
And one of the important things to get right about setting up the metaverse is to have it open and interoperable. Right?
Yeah.
And hopefully that the forces that are working towards that are the ones that are going to be in the best position.
We're still in the very early stages of all that, where I think you have certain entertainment pieces that are out in front, like Roblox as a metaverse or everything Epic as a metaverse, but underneath all that, you still need to do the plumbing. You still need to find what is the right way to do payments, what is the right way to get people from place to place, how does interoperability work beyond contractually. And those things are being solved. It's going to take time, and they need to be adopted, but we'll get there.
Yeah, and how do the players maintain consistency across different experiences so that their experience in the broader metaverse kind of continues and carries with them? So yeah, interoperability is a big part of that.
That's all we have time for today, and very good getting some thought leadership out of you guys. Appreciate it, and thank you everybody for watching.
Thank you, Dean.
Thanks,
you, David. Thanks, everybody.
Hi everyone, my name is Fragen, and thank you guys for joining us here today. We're here on the floor at Game Developers Conference here at the Xsolla booth. I'm so excited to be talking with some lovely experts here today about mastering mobile monetization and strategies for in-app success and beyond. I'd love to introduce our panelists.
Yeah, hi, thank you. Nice to meet you today. Hi, everyone. My name is Josephine Friday. I am the sales director at the Xsolla US team.
Hey, everybody. I'm Berkeley Agnes, the Chief Marketing and Growth Officer here at Xsolla. We're thrilled to have the opportunity to be here at GDC. It's always a big kickoff at the beginning of the year, and really excited in the buzz that's happening in the arena here today.
Absolutely. It's always thrilling to be able to talk at a conference and just have everything going on around us. It's just energizing in a different way. So let's get started. I'd love to hear a little bit more about, obviously mobile monetization is such a big topic. It's so essential for the rest of the industry. Obviously without there being a return, people aren't going to be able to develop all the games that we love to play. I'd love to hear a little bit more about what Xsolla is offering to game developers this year that's new.
Cool. Wow, actually, we have the whole suite of solutions, to help the developers to make the sales easy, because we know the market is very, challenged and making games so hard, right? And we need to survive because we need to continue creating amazing content to users because we love this. So Xsolla, this year, actually last week, we launched the instant web shop. So this is like directed to consumer, web portal. So you can sell all the in-game content, virtual currencies, add-on bundle to your user player directly. Yeah, you control that site and you control all the content user experience. Yeah. Then the second you make the payment and then apply all the items they just purchased and in their game and continue enjoying the journey. Yeah, it's really cool. I'm the biz dev, and I just feel excited. Like this morning, we demoed to one of the partners, and it's wow. He literally is counting 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 7 seconds. You can create a web shop. That's it.
It's incredible how easy it is to build something. I'd love to hear a little bit more about. Obviously, the world of monetization in games is changing due to different legal acts that are being enacted in different markets. I'd love to hear a little bit more about, it seems like this is sort of almost enabled by the fact that the European Union is now requiring that mobile platforms allow users to be able to pay in, web shops and not take that 30% cut. I'd love to hear a little bit more about, how that, impacted the company's strategy and just, what the impact on the business has been.
Sure. That's a really good question. There's been a lot happening with DMA that obviously March 6th, and then news this morning that dropped about what's going on in the United States. So it's a continuing, growing, and evolving situation and story. At the foundation is to be able to help game developers navigate that process, and that's what we want to do. We want to help them be successful. So through web shops, we'll be able to monetize get the players to go in-app and play the game on the mobile device is the in-game goal that we're trying to help and enable them. So they can able to do it. It's more about taking control of the opportunity to market direct to their users and to be able to do campaigns, promotions, bundle packs, retargeting, email campaigns, newsletters, social media, and really building that community to grow that user base, because then ultimately they'll get back into the handset and play the game that they love and do. And it's not genre specific, and we've seen it, and we've done a lot of discussions, and it could be a casual game, it could be a strategy game, an RPG. You're seeing numbers up and down. It's like it's for everybody. And that's one of the things that we believe here is creating equal access for everyone, and to have that opportunity for mobile game developers to manage that process, to kind of take back a little bit of that ownership, to go market their game, market to their users, but really getting back to the core is like getting them back into the handset to play the device, whether it's a train, subway, Uber that we've been all running around here around San Francisco.
Absolutely. It's I think that throughout the industry, development costs and user acquisition costs have been rising. And developers are looking for solutions that can allow them to focus on things that they're best at, which is building fantastic games that we all love to play. I'd love to hear, obviously we talked about how easy it is to set up the web shop, but what are some of the other ways that you guys are helping developers maximize their return on all of the items and content that they're creating?
So we look at it as it's global scale to provide that opportunity. So we operate in 200 around the world, 7 payment methods, 130 different currencies. To be able to take that game and had a humble beginning in one country, could be in Europe, and how do you help them go into Asia? How do you help them go into Latin America? To provide that opportunity for them to do so. So it's more than just payments. It's more than opportunity. It's getting them to be able to scale, reach, and grow their games. Whether it's a mobile game here for the web shop, doing it on our mall for the Xsolla Mall, to be able to promote those opportunities, promote the offers, promote the engagement. So look at it. It's not just one screen. It's not one device. To be able to have open opportunities to pay and play the way that users want to do. If you enable that, if you enable the user to be able to have their control or their personal desires, you see more engagement, you see users grow, and that's what we're seeing. We've seen it improve over time.
I have one more thing to add on. Yeah, Sandra mentioned this 200 joules. So that's a fact for all the mobile developers. In the past 10 or 15 years, we know that some emerging market, right? You see the DAU, MAU is high, but the pay rate is low, right? The pay user low, and so I heard this all the time in the past years. The UA manager said, okay, I'm not going to spend a lot of money and to acquire users because not willing to pay. But the PM said, hey, they are active in their games. So the fact we found out that because the payment, that's the last step. I want to pay, but you ask for a credit card, you ask for PayPal,
Right.
I'm sorry, I don't have it. I'm probably just like a young fresh graduate. I don't have any of those, but I have points. I have a cash payment. So this is the beauty of when people are talking about, oh, you guys have 700, alternative payment methods, including the major ones. This is the beauty because, whenever, the player is ready to pay, we literally unlock that opportunity. This is the beauty, yeah. And also, this is also one of the opportunity we provide to our partners. We want you guys, to notice, yeah. And also the second part you mentioned, how you asking how we support, the developers. We have a whole team here. We build all the features and web shop, but this is only step one. It seems like your game, you launch a game, you need to operate it, right? You continue doing the, creating content. So we have a professional team. By the way, they're gamers too. They play the game, no, seriously, yeah. So, because they want to understand your game, understand the user, and then we can continue to provide the post-launch, success management. Then you can continue to manage your store.
Absolutely. I think that one of the things that's so valuable about what you guys can bring to the table is that you work with a variety of different developers in a variety of different countries and a huge number of different genres. And, because you have all that data, you can sort of determine what are some of the little tips and tricks that you can use to sort of optimize people's web shops. I'd love to hear a little bit more about what are some of those options might be for developers that are listening in today.
So it's an interesting, we have a lot of partners that do different things based on their game type and what they learn and what the engagement with their users. We got one partner that does 2 offers a week to kind of create that FOMO, and then it'll be limited quantities. And then it's like, say it's 1,000 units or 10,000 units, depending on the scale. Create that unique engagement to where it creates a sense of urgency and a reason to come back and repeat purchase over and over. So that's a big one that we have as well, but then also like personalized offers. Really to take that player who might have downloaded the game but hasn't been in it for 6 weeks, or played 2 months ago, they've been traveling, and get them back into the game experience. Send them an offer and be like, hey Jordan, last time you purchased 200 gems, we got this new gem pack that we're offering for you because it might be helping you level up your experience. And to do that from an email communication, it could be social media, different messages to be able to deliver and provide to different folks. And that's what we really look at, is like, with the web shop, you have these opportunities to really engage, get creative, try different things, A/B test, see what works and what doesn't, and then obviously double down on what does, so that you can be successful. And we're seeing results and increases. We have partners that
are having up to 25% of their game business is coming through a web shop because it's so successful, and then their daily and their monthly active user rates are going up.
Yeah, I can imagine that because you can, have those communications with players, you can sort of nudge them a little bit and remind them about the great experiences they've had playing,
Exactly.
games. I think there's a lot of opportunities for, let's just say there are developers out there that are, thinking about putting out a game. I don't know if there's something about, either the layout of the shop or bundles, or I don't know if there are trends that you're seeing that are changing within the last couple of years and shifts in the overall market where, obviously trends in how people are monetizing games are changing. I'd love to hear, what are the things that you're seeing just broadly across the market?
Yeah, actually, so we, in the past 2 years, right, and we help the mobile developers around the world. We built over 200 websites and across many different genres. The interesting thing is that we're willing to try these new initiatives and like Berkeley mentioned, A/B testing, right? Because this is now like a one-man PM's decision. You need to continue to try those offers and what user data, to analyze your performance, and also continue to communicate with your user players like, hey, we provide a very unique, value proposition for you because. We appreciate you loved our game, but you can get a discount and you can get more from this, the web shop. Yeah.
And one of the things I think is so unique about Xsolla is that you guys have partnerships that allow people to pay with things that aren't just credit cards or PayPal. I'd love to hear a little bit more about the sort of the return that you guys have seen when developers enabled these sort of other tools where they're paying with credit card loyalty points.
So we've seen a lot of different opportunities, particularly in different markets that go into it. So ones we come into more digital wallets and those engagements, particularly like Alipay, PayPay that we just brought online in Japan, making that happen. So you're seeing more engagement that comes forward. And then a program that we rolled out with Pay with Points that we're testing out with several developers right now to take that microtransaction. So take it to the next level. You're buying a bundle. You put it in your cart and you're connected to your MasterCard and see what's going on to make that purchase. And then it's like, hey, you have 110,000 points available, but this transaction's $25 and it should be 25 points, hopefully, when they match it up. And you're like, you're not going to even think about it. It's an automatic one-click purchase. You're in game and you're playing right away. And like if you're a parent, and for that situation too, you can use that as a reward system for your kids. We talk about that. How do you incentivize your kids to like do good things, do great in school, be good people, and then they want to go play their games to specialize doing it. So we're seeing those coming more and more requests. It's like, how do we do this differently? Is there another opportunity that we can do? Could we integrate this wallet or that different payment method into it? And we're always adding what's coming on. The roadmap is filled with other partners who are going to bring it on board. And we're also looking at territories and geos. We just launched 5 payment partners in sub-Saharan Africa. Really proud of that and the opportunity to do that because the continent is growing from a gameplay perspective, and then make that possible because if you're not able to pay in your local preferred plan, it's just you're not going to get in game. And so that's what a lot of the developers are seeing. They're asking us to come into different situations, try stuff, and then test it with us.
That's a very good point. Actually, Africa also localization, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have gamers from all over the world, right? You don't always give them the credit card. For example, we work PayPay in Japan.
Right.
That's the number one e-payment in Japan. LANPay,
right.
Yes, LANPay. That's like a social media payment, and also for in Asia, we also have Alipay, WeChat Pay. Those might not look familiar to the Western and the user, but super popular because this is their top preferred payment method. It's all enabled on the platform.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that because you guys operate in so many different markets, you can help developers shift their strategy to be appropriate to local circumstances. I don't know if there was like an example of something that's happened in the last year. I don't know if you guys help developers sort of I know that for certain markets, like, if you just do the straight conversion in currency, it's completely unaffordable. I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you guys are helping developers make sure that they are entering these new markets at a price point where it's appropriate for
That's a
their
good
users.
question. So one of the things that we do with our PayStation product across our suite of solutions is offering localized pricing. So you look at it based on where somebody is located to make sure your price elasticity works in that market and has a market fit. So you can price it at one in the United States, different in Brazil, different in Vietnam as an example, because it's what makes sense in that market. And then they test it like from a pricing perspective, and then keep everybody, like, you purchase it, you're in the States, you buy the one in the States. You're in Brazil, you pay for that that price of that bundle pack of pricing in Brazil, and you can use Pix as a payment method there as well. So we're seeing a lot of that happening in the conversation, because you can price it at $69.99 in the United States. That's not going to fly in Southeast Asia in certain countries from a price point perspective. And evaluate, again, test, measure, see what's going on. A lot of data research that goes into that. We will consult with folks and see what's going on and give recommendations. Ultimately, it's a developer's decision where they want to price that out, but we enable that on the back end to have that possible. And so when you're in Brazil, and then you won't see credit cards and things that you would see in the States. You'll see Pix come to the top of the feed, because that's the preferred method, or what you set up in your profile as a user. And that's really what the developers are seeing a lot of value in when we customize that experience for them, to be able to generate less friction, easier transactions, higher conversion in the checkout.
Absolutely. We're here at GDC. One of the great things about GDC is that we have so many young developers who are, showing off indie games and showing off, their ambition to join the industry. Obviously, Xsolla works with developers that are both large and small. I'd love to hear a little bit more about, is there a piece of advice that you would give to an indie developer who wants to make sure that their mobile game has a successful monetization strategy?
I can share a story. Yeah, so, since I joined Xsolla, so because my job is talking to developer, I talk to big and also small ones, and oftentimes they ask me question is, hey, we are a small team and we're still looking for funding, which is super, super hard right now, and you want me to use this solution, but should I hire more people? I don't have the budget, right? And I said, okay, so I always demo them, so because we have a Xsolla publisher account, so basically like the hub, you can manage all your projects or the integrate with the solution, and this is a one-stop platform and see the data and everything. So hey, I said, look, it's a self-service platform, and all the documentation's right there. 20 different languages, major languages on the world, right? So you can, and also we have a small button on the page pop up, 24/7 customer service. You just, hey, I couldn't find this documentation. I want to do API integration. You can literally just answer a question, and we have a record. So within 30 seconds. No, seriously, yeah. So because we're a global team, and we understand. So yeah. So every time I demo them, so wow, that is easy. I said yes. So this is only step one, because you can always reach out to us. We also have a local dedicated customer service. They are also gamers. They are expert of our platform. Yeah. So basically, I think our mission here is very simple. So we want the developers to continue building or creating a content, because we need some fun stuff in life. Life is stressful. I play games pretty much every day, and leave the rest of work, to Xsolla team. We're gonna take care of everything: the payment, the solution, the layout, customer service, the tax payment. That's another part. Anti-fraud, compliance. We'll take care of everything for you. We've been doing this for 18 years, right? Yeah.
This year's gonna be an interesting year. I think it's the year of the indie. It's the AA games. You're going to see a lot more of that. There's been a lot of press, a lot of articles that people have written out. We're really excited about that. We're really proud of some of these games. There's been many games, and it's like a single development where it's 4 people in a garage. Like, we have this idea, we have a vision of where we want to go. And it's our recommendation: keep pushing, keep creating, keep putting that together.
reach out to us, and we can help make introductions for people. If they're looking for funding, to come through our Xsolla Funding Club and match them up with potential investors. Keep pushing, keep creating, because we need more games like that. We want more indie games, we want more AA games that are coming into it, that scale upwards and down, within the ecosystem, and to do that. So who knows? They could, the next indie could be somebody's working on it right now. In 3 years, it could be the next Fortnite.
Yeah.
That's the beauty and the magic that you hear here in GDC. So that they're the buzz and like what's going on, people are trying different things, and we're really excited about that, and we'll help folks in the right way, make introductions, and hopefully we'll partner with them down the road and make their game be successful as well.
Absolutely. I think we have time for maybe one or two more questions. We've covered do's, but maybe we should cover some don'ts. I don't know if there are, anything, if you client for the first time and you see it, you're like, maybe we should adjust that.
Well, we did a presentation yesterday. We were talking about, we looked at do's and don'ts slides and different things, particularly when it comes to monetization. First of all and foremost, follow the terms of service. That is requirement. Base tax requirement when you go into it. No linking outside, the app to something else. Be very specific. No promotion goes into it. Be smart at what's going on. Do what the necessary foundations are. Launch your games on Steam. Launch it in Google Play. Like, get those into the platforms, and then come out, and then we can help you market, monetize your game online, as well as we connect it all through our login and the launcher systems and services. Do the basic requirements and get that out there, and then you'll be successful.
Yeah, and also, so we just mentioned we have the host and the solution here, but also, like Berkeley said, we also have a professional team. We have legal, compliance. We are finger pulse. We are overseeing, saying what is going on in the market. That's why we have, Xsolla best practice or ebook. Because we really want to, handle this to the developers. So go to Xsolla.com. You will download the ebook for free. Yeah, this is a first-hand experience. So please read it and do it today.
I read this study. It's very interesting. I think there's a lot of good tidbits for developers who are looking to see what Xsolla can offer. I know we touched a little bit on the rise of indie games and the rise of AA. I don't know if there are any other trends. I know obviously with the legal side of things, the market is rapidly evolving. But is there anything that is going to be on your guys' radar for between now and the next GDC?
So there's a lot of conversation about metaverse, Web3. We believe in Web 3D, creating 3D experiences and democratizing it, making it available for everyone online. It's like when the internet came out, nobody can own the internet. Can anybody own the metaverse? And it should be equal and open for everybody. Creating 3D experiences, and gaming is going to be right there in it. They're going to be the center point of that conversation. We've seen it in the industry. We've seen it go to other industries and bring that together. Our founder wrote a book about it. What's Born Tomorrow? Check it out at Amazon. We have some here at the booth if you'd like to get a glance at it. But we're going to see that happening as we go forward. You're going to see more conversations like that. AI is all of us. What does that mean? What does it look like? I believe it's going to make everybody more efficient. You're going to take your employee base that you have right now, give them tools and say, do more projects, get more creative, do more production, do more rendering faster, so you can ship more games. And it's not about lower headcount, it's about making your employees or enabling them to be more efficient as you go forward, so you can do more stuff, do more patches. So there's been a lot of that buzz.
Yeah. Well, so from this GDC to next GDC, I have a little hope. First of all, I'm a big fan follower in the VentureBeat. So this year, people still, ask me, what is web shop? Where can I build it? I really hope more mobile developers, can, reach out to us, know the web shop, because this is really awesome tool to help you guys to grow. I hope the next year, when people, see Xsolla, I say, oh yeah, can you guys grow more and more? Yes, yeah, that's my hope.
Awesome. Well, with that, I think that we are out of time. So thank you all for joining us today. If you're here at GDC, come check out the Xsolla booth in the South Hall, right?
That's right.
South Hall. So thank you guys for joining us. And my name's Fragen, and I've been I'm a writer at VentureBeat, and I'm so glad that you guys could join us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.